Hello, everyone. I'm Anna with Monsters Little Theater, and I'm here with the cast and crew of Paula Vogel's How I Learned to Drive. Thanks for being here, everybody. We're here to discuss the show, the process, get a little insight from the director and the cast. And we'll start with Whitney, our wonderful director. Um, this play deals with a lot of challenging subjects.
Yeah.
What was your approach in tackling some of that sensitive subjects?
I think my approach first and foremost was to make sure that the cast felt confident. I don't think it was like this wasn't a show that called for a lot of comfort, but I wanted them to feel empowered and like it was a safe place for them to explore and to express any concerns that they had. And so I think that was my first priority. And I also, like, in the approach and the concept, I wanted to put on a play that people can sit through, even though the content matter is difficult. I know that it's not a play that a lot of people might enjoy watching, but just knowing what the story is and where we are, I wanted to make sure that our audiences could sit through the whole thing. And that's really
I
important.
think you do a great job with that.
Thanks.
Yeah. For the cast, it's kind of similar question with that sensitive contact matter. Anything that I don't know, when thinking about auditioning, what was your thought process of why you wanted to audition for this show in particular? Yeah, that's I don't know what specific question was in there, but I'll kind of throw it out there.
I guess I will start. I guess the main reason I auditioned for it is I felt like this is a story that needed to be told, and I had no idea what was in store for me during it. But again, that was just my general thought and feeling that I was hoping that I could be a small part of that.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Mike.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. Yeah, every night before the show, one of my ways to get into character and get into Little Bit's character is I write about why I'm telling this story, and yeah, one of the reasons that I also list is because it's a story that needs to be told, and it's a story that needs to be shared. I think like this is really it's deeply painful material, and I was talking about this last night with one of my close friends, and the subject matter is difficult, but how beautiful is it that like we can gather as a community and be supportive of one another and of this story being told and just get to be there for each other in that pain, and being able to take this story and leave with action, I think. And that action is that it's that simple. If you see something or have a hint of something, you say something. Like I've worked in the school, I worked in the school districts, I still work in the school districts, but I'm a mandatory reporter, and when I see something like that, I'm legally mandated to say something. And that's something that I feel very passionately about as well. It's important.
Well, I think also like the three of us, I had multiple conversations with the both of you before you accepted these roles.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And there was an audition, but there were also lots of conversations about what the show would be, how I would approach, like what we were going to say with the show. And I think those early on conversations really helped.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
For sure. Yeah. I wouldn't have done the show probably without talking to you. When I initially read it, I was like, I don't know how I could do that. But working with you previously, and then the way you articulate the way that things are going to be, you made me feel comfortable. And from a personal standpoint, the acting is definitely a challenge. So that was something that I was like, well, let's see what happens. So.
Yeah. I read this story a couple of years ago, and I immediately fell in love with the story. Yeah, it's just Paula Vogel. It's crazy to think that she carried this story for years, and then I think she just dumped it all out in a night, right, when she wrote it. yeah, it's just, that's just wild to me. And but I like the circular form of it though too, how it like it feels like memory while you're telling it. Mhm.
What's something that you hope or you imagine audience members are discussing in the car on the way home that you would hope they would get out of it?
I'm sure that there's discussions in every car. I think that it's different depending on the audience members, how they can relate to it personally. I think there's going to be a lot of different discussions that it might be triggering for some people, or it might anger some people. But the script is really solid. I mean, there's so many times when you do show, I've said before that I think a script is a third, the actors are a third, and the direction is a third. Because you can take a crap script, and if you have good direction or good actors, you can turn it into a good show. But this script is solid. I mean, it's superbly written, and so I think that really helps. But I think the discussions are, I think it's a wide range. I can't even imagine all the different discussions.
I think all of the different gray areas in the show, like that's what I find myself talking about with people. I think, you know, because Paula Vogel, she writes this story, I think, pretty similar to life. Like nothing in life is black and white. Yeah, I think I find myself talking about a lot of those gray areas in the show that, like, yeah, are difficult, but thought provoking. Yeah.
Yeah, I think some of the conversations I've had just after the show with people, it's easy to look at a character like Peck and think he's an evil human being for what he did, but you also have to look at his circumstances, his situation. There's a lot of things that happened to him that have led him to become the person he is. Doesn't excuse anything he does by any means whatsoever, but it makes you think that there is a lot more to this person than it outwardly appears.
Mm-hmm. I think it forces us to look at it on a systemic level, the way that she writes about all of the gray areas. Yeah, because this isn't, that isn't just an isolated moment. It's not, you know, it's not just Uncle Peck doing these things. You know, I really struggled actually when we were telling this story during this section in the story where I talk about being with a teenager, and yeah, that's deeply devastating. And but Whitney and I talked a lot about it, and it's difficult when you're playing roles like that because you can't demonize, like you can't demonize the character, otherwise you won't be able to play it correctly. And or at least, like, I don't know, I don't think that I felt like it'd be difficult to play it what's the word, safely, I think, maybe, for my own mental, like, well-being, I guess. And I think that, you know, exploring her story, and it's not something that I agree with at all, but it was a thing that she did to understand, you know, why her uncle did what he did to her. And also, she didn't have any, I don't think that she probably had any resources to understand that either. And it's not an excuse at all, but again, Paula Vogel, she writes about the gray areas so that we can talk about this and have discussions about this, and understand it more.
All of the characters have something despicable about them.
Yes.
And so that's been hard for me. You know, I have a daughter, and I can't imagine telling my daughter, "Oh yeah, it's okay for you to go on this long car trip with your uncle," even though I have some severe questions about his behavior. And the aunt, you know, our Aunt Mary, defending Peck, and not only defending Peck, but blaming a little bit, and being a bully, a ninth grade bully, all of these despicable things, and you feel that's a challenge. It's like, I hope people don't think I'm really like this.
Oh yeah,
really?
I know, yeah. Uh-huh.
But yet they all have their good aspects. I think Peck is very charming, and he knows how to throw on the charm, and mother has her good points, and
Yeah.
everybody
Mhm.
does. So it's
Yeah,
it's
they
again
could-
the gray areas.
Big Papa's a little different story.
I know I haven't been able to find the
what's his
good parts
redeeming
of
quality?
Good Papa.
I don't think he has a redeeming. I would say maybe in my head story of him, he's a hard worker, but that's probably the only thing I can think of.
The Greek chorus plays quite a few roles in this show between the three of you. What character do you enjoy playing the most?
I guess with me, I enjoy playing Greg. Um, Greg is the embodiment of me in high school. Very much a nerd, very much a keeps to himself type person. I don't think I would have had the courage that Greg had to go ask someone for a dance, but other than that, that was me.
I enjoyed playing the drunken mother monologues, starting from the 1950s housewife approach and kind of snowballing into the completely sloshed mother. So
I really enjoy playing the grandmother. She just sits at the table and she's kooky. She works herself up. She's big, over the top, boisterous, and overall delightful to play because I have the freedom to be a little silly with it. So
I also love in the show the role of the chorus with music, which I want to direct this question towards Whitney of your decision to add music from the actors and how you chose the music and your process with that.
Thanks. I dwelled on the music probably more than anything else in this show. I researched for months trying to find the right music to play. Originally, I was going to play it as a sound cue. And more, I just was like, I really, really want to involve the chorus.
And the script is a sound cue, correct?
The script is a sound
Yes.
cue. And I couldn't find music that was royalty free that like embodied the feeling that I wanted. And so I found a few new artists that were trying to get their music out there and reached out and asked like, hey, can I use this song? And they were like, sure. They're just trying to get their music out. And then the four of us worked together in a very, I'm sure, strange way because I have this idea in my head. And we slowed a lot of it down and we split it into 3-part harmony. And I wanted them to create a mood under some of the scenes. And so I wasn't sold right until we started rehearsals. I was still like, is it a sound cue or is it the chorus? Is it a sound cue? Is it a chorus? And then I was like, we're going to try this. If it doesn't work, I'll use a sound cue. I'll figure something else out. And then I feel like I really pushed you guys and I really am grateful to you because it's one of my favorite things about the show.
Oh, mine too. It really works.
Yeah. The songs really worked out because, like You're Tempted talks about like Eve in the garden, and you have a line earlier in the show about, I'm not going to teach my daughter about Eve and sin. And you singing like Brand New Car, and then like Mo's voice under the Christmas scene. It came together better than I ever could have hoped. And I'm really grateful to you guys because I know it was a lot of work.
Worked out great that they all have beautiful voices.
Yeah, I had
You
singers.
auditioned for a play,
Well, she didn't
but
tell you.
hey, it
She
ended up
tried
being
to
a
get me to
musical.
sing first. I was like, no, guess you're gonna have to play back.
Guys, that's a musical. I think we're gonna do this as a musical.
What was the Uncle Buck song?
A few dance breaks.
I've told many people, I said, if you think you've seen the show, you haven't. I said, just simply because of the music alone. And I said, the music alone is worth the price of admission. So that's just true. This is like, it's such a treat for us to get to listen to them every night, so.
Yeah, you're doing a wonderful job. And I'm just really, really grateful because I know that was extra work on the plate, a little extra stress, but I think it's paid off. So thank you.
it was fun.
The question I love to ask in each that I'm a part of is, what do you think your character's most important line is? And I'll ask Whitney too, if you have an important line too.
Big one.
I think Teenage Greek Chorus towards the end
when she is voicing a little bit, asking, am I doing it right? Her seeking that validation and not having a healthy relationship with the role models in her life. And so constantly searching for that in the only way she knows how. So I feel like one of my, there's several I feel like, but I feel like the line, I know I'm lucky. And that's not only told by, it's, I don't know if that was, I don't know if that was your line. I was like, I think that that's the one that came to my mind though. I think it's, yeah, I think that she chooses that line to say that, and it's in the ending monologue, and it's also said by your character
Aunt
as well,
Mary.
by my Aunt Mary,
Yeah.
and yeah, I think she's talking about, you know, she's just told this devastating story of her, yeah, of her upbringing and how she, yeah, went through her adolescence and went through her sexual coming of age. You know, she still wants to remind everybody that she's not a victim. She's a survivor, and she still gets to have a rich and beautiful life that's her own. And yeah, and Whitney and I talked a lot about that during the process of this show. You know, because this is a really difficult story, and I think a lot of the times my emotions really got the better of me sometimes. But I also like had Whitney and had the entire cast like to just help me, and also like I had my own tools and Whitney gave me tools, and you know, just being able to come back to that idea that she is a survivor and this is her story, and she doesn't want pity. You know, I don't think that anybody who has ever gone through something like this, or who has ever survived assault, you know, they don't want to be seen as victims. They want to be survivors. And yeah. Sorry to steal your line.
That's all right. And I
No.
got to think of another one. There are a lot of repeated lines, and that's intentional on Paula Vogel's part. I know I'm lucky, and I hold you responsible is Grandma's line and my line, and that it reminds us that it's a cyclical pattern that we learn from the previous generation, and it gets passed down, both good and bad. So maybe I hold you responsible. One of those repeated lines is one that sticks out in my mind.
Yeah. I you kind of stole my thunder there a little bit, but I think with Big Papa's line, "You made your bed, now lie on it," it kind of has that same connotation where it's an unwillingness for any of the family members to accept responsibility for their own roles that they've played in this horrible downward spiral of behavior in the family. It is refreshing to see that little bit at the end of the cycle can break that chain to some, at least as much as she can.
Yeah.
But it's nice to see that she's making conscious decisions to say, I've forgiven him. I'm moving on with my life, and I feel honestly that chain has been broken.
Yeah.
I think for me, there were two kind of lines that like anchored how I wanted to direct this show. And one of them came from a female Greek chorus where she says, "Children depend on you
To watch them.
And that's one of the things that I hope, I know people will take a lot of different things away from this show, but I wanted to use the chorus as sort of like a reflection of society. That's why they're always on stage. That's why they're always watching and tuned in when they're the chorus and not the family members or a different character, because I think it is up to us to like protect our children, not just but I mean like the children, like they're all our children. And kind of like spitballing off of that, like because we struggled with BB a little bit at the beginning, and I had like dug into like a little bit of research on why Paula Vogel wrote this character in this long monologue with a child that we never see. And it was because he's supposed to be a reflection of like all children. And so like knowing that, and then kind of anchoring what I hope is a little bit of a lesson from this show is that like children are all of our responsibility, and that like really just like sticks with me. And then I think the other thing that I came back to was Uncle Peck's and I know I keep saying it over and over and over, but he always implies that little bit has the power. He always tells her, like, we don't have to do anything until you want to. I would never do anything you don't want to do. He has those lines in every scene, and I think that really helped shape their relationship for me. And so those lines, I hate those lines. I hate it. I hate it every time you say it, and it works so well. And it's because he means it. And so anyway, I think those are my two lines that kind of like helped me pursue a certain vision.
Yeah, it's tough to. I mean, I guess in the character of Peck, maybe when he says "I love you," because in his mind, in his dysfunction, in his whatever, his disease, whatever it is, he does love her. I mean, he loves that. He's a person of love. Everything he does is for love, in his way. So even with cousin Bobby, same thing. I mean, so maybe that, I don't know. I mean, that's a really hard question for me to answer personally, because it's a very hard role for me to do personally.
Mhm.
So.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you do a great job.
Well,
For the characters of Uncle Peck and Little Bit, what do you think their greatest strengths are and greatest weaknesses are?
I think something that is very compelling that Paula Vogel did with this writing is that um, Uncle Peck, he did these terrible, terrible things to her, but in many ways he also gave her some of the tools to help break this terrible cyclical cycle of familial abuse. And and that's not just because of Uncle Peck. That's on Little Bit's part. I think mostly like she gave it a reason, these terrible things that happened to her, and she found that driving gave her that sense of control and safety in her life. And I think that that gift that Uncle Peck gave her with that, yeah, she gave it a reason, I think. And I think that that's something very difficult, but also, yeah, deeply moving, because I think that a lot of our lives are like that. Yeah. But and then it comes back to that phrase of that she says, "I know I'm lucky," because not every survivor is able to get to that point. Like, not, I don't think that that's something, I guess, that's difficult for me. And the end, in the forgiveness piece, I really struggled with that. Is she forgiving her uncle? I think she does forgive her uncle. But I personally, and I don't think that it should be a survivor's goal to forgive the person who hurt them. I think that if anything, what survivors whom I've talked to, and the most difficult piece of that is forgiveness of yourself. And that's something that I don't know if Little Bit did. I think she did, but it's something that I wonder and I struggle with. And yeah, that's what I can think of with that, I guess.
yeah, kind of similar to that is Uncle Peck's the character. It's a complex role in the fact that it's not stereotypical, and he is a little bit safe place too. He's kind of her buddy. He in some ways protects her from the rest of her family that is also abusive on some level. It's not right. It gives her an outlet that she can go and feel comfortable at or whatever, all then through the dysfunction as well. But so I don't know, it's a complex role that way, because it's like the villain and the safe space all in one spot. It's tough to do both, but he's kind of there that way. So
Yeah. How did you this is for me, like how did you find out, like how were you able to like overcome playing a character that I'm guessing you as Aaron probably did not like at all? The actions at least.
I don't think I know that answer yet.
Yeah.
And that may take me some time. In the scenes, like when in the scene with an 11-year-old, whatever, I have to separate myself out so I'm not with an 11-year-old. I mean, I can't. And that's really hard and kind of backwards to do for a role, because if you're not in the role, then you're not in the role, right? But listen, if you're in that role, then it's somewhere, you're dancing with, playing with fire or something that's like, I don't even know how that's possible. So like, even when when I'm looking at you and you're 17 in the show, I'm not looking at you as you're 17.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? For me personally, you're just a woman,
And I think
and
that's
so I
maybe
don't know if that's right or not, because like I say, any other show that I can think of, you want to be the character. You always you hear actors talk about your character. Well, they kind of talk about them in another person. It's like, well, this is how they felt, right? I can't take that on in this show. So it was more of a challenge for me that way, because I didn't want to do the show disservice. But it's a very different process. I don't think I'll ever run into that same similar process again. I don't know if I'm maybe not explaining it very well or not. It's very difficult and complex, but yeah, I don't know how I even feel. So
in that final scene when she a little bit is 11, that's the only part of the show where Teenage Greek Chorus plays a little bit. Why do you think Paula Vogel did that?
Out of body experience.
Yeah, makes sense.
Exactly. To save the person who's playing a little bit.
Yeah, it'll work.
I think about that scene and I'm like, thank God I don't have to speak during that scene. But surprisingly for me during that scene, it doesn't feel as difficult for me as it looks, and I know it's difficult to watch, but Whitney did such a wonderful job choreographing the scene with her intimacy coordination, and I've always felt safe during that scene, and working with Aaron on that has been wonderful. We've communicated a lot, figuring out like, this is why we're doing this. We're trying to make this type of scene basically, and I think it's important to depict that because this is what happens to children, and it's difficult. But.
I have one last question for everybody. What was the most rewarding part of the process for you?
You might. Cue Jeopardy theme song.
There's a lot of different rewarding pieces.
I will say, okay, so I like Thursday Hugs. It's something that I made up a long time ago, and it's very special to me. The world needs more hugs. And I was nervous about doing this show and friends and family seeing it, and then afterwards they'd be like, I really didn't know. So that first night especially, it was really nice, the feedback that I got back. So
I think it's great to be telling this story because it's something that needs to be told. Yes, it's hard work being a part of that process and being a part of that telling of the story. But it's poignant, it's prominent, and it's important. So.
I guess with me, the rewarding part is again kind of along the lines with Mo is being a part of this story again that needs to be told. This was a tremendous challenge, not only with everything that we're doing with this role, with the music, the scene transitions, the different characters. Just it was a tremendous challenge, and I was looking for a challenge when I auditioned for this role, and I definitely got it. So.
Mhm. Yeah, it's been a stretch. Even singing again, I normally avoid musical auditions because I can't dance to save my life. But it's been fun to delve into the singing.
You danced a little in this show.
I
too.
do dance. You did. Not great, but hey, I'm just a ninth grader, so it doesn't have to be great. But I think what's rewarding to me is that we have taken a risk.
Mhm.
And that's why I want to go to the theater. I this is not a piece where you walk away feeling good. You walk away feeling maybe, I don't know, down or sad but it's important to tell it and take that risk. And so that's what's been really rewarding and has motivated me to come and do this. So yeah.
Yeah, I agree with what everybody said too. I think that yeah, playing the character of Little Bit has been extremely life changing for me. It's it's a difficult story, but there's so much hope in this story. It's a story of survival, and within survival there is hope, and hope, I think, is the most important thing that we can hold on to in this world. And it's been such a joy, quite frankly, to get to tell her story, because it means a lot to me, and it means a lot to me to be a part of this production with all of these really wonderful people that I've never gotten to work with until now. I've worked with Whitney, but I hadn't gotten to act with any of these people before. And just getting to know everybody throughout this story has just been really, really wonderful and very, very cathartic. And yeah, I just feel like you guys were like the perfect castmates. Like, oh man, yeah, I feel very, very lucky. And again, this is an extremely poignant and important story that I think every community needs to hear. Yeah, and it's a Pulitzer-winning prize show. It's beautiful, and it's so cool that we've gotten to do this show here in Little Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and yeah, take a story that's been done all over the world. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I think getting to work with the script felt like a tremendous gift
Yes.
because it's so good. It's good on the page. And then I think what's been rewarding for me is kind of seeing how we were able to make it our own. To honor, like, I really, really hope that we honor Paula Vogel, but also like put our own stamp on it. And we've gotten good feedback, and I think we did that. And so that feels really good.
Well, thank you everyone for being here and for auditioning and doing such a fabulous job. Thank you so much.
Yay.
Yeah,
you
thank you.
guys.